Talk about the babe.
Yeah.
Babe.
Hey, Lou Gehrig. Yeah. I talked about Jack Dempsey.
I think you talked about everything.
Boxing, golf.
Me and John would give Babe Ruth problems.
Trust me.
How? Like,
Just so you know.
okay. He's hard to beat. Now, so I think I talked about like the most famous person in the world, like the name, like you go to Africa, you go to India, you go to Brazil, you go to Russia, everybody knows this name. Well, that would be Babe Ruth and Charles Lindbergh. Okay? Lindbergh, as you guys saw in the video on Friday, is the one that flew across the Atlantic, yes, by himself, solo, 33 and a half hours by yourself in an airplane. Now, if you've ever seen the Spirit of St. Louis's plane, you can't look out the front. There's no windshield. You got to stick your head out the window, okay? So this plane is loaded with fuel and coffee. He's flying in less than 1,000 feet, mostly over water, mostly in the dark. So this is quite the feat. Okay, so he becomes an international hero here. Okay, Lindbergh does. Now, personally, I'm not a huge Charles Lindbergh fan. Okay, as we'll learn a little bit later on. Politically, he does some things that a lot of people don't like. So he really likes airplanes, right? Well, the German Air Force under Adolf Hitler was called the Luftwaffe. Okay, and Lindbergh had a fascination with the German Air Force. Okay, later on, as war is beginning to start in Europe, Lindbergh sided with the Germans instead of the British. And so his name is Mud in many circles. Okay, you ever heard about the Lindbergh baby? You guys heard of that? Lindbergh baby? So he married this beautiful daughter of the American ambassador to Mexico. Her last name was Morrow. And so it's like, you know, when Angelina and Brad got married. You guys know what I'm talking about. Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie. Okay, like, so Hollywood marriage. You know what I mean? Like it's, oh, Brad and Angelina are getting married. Now, is there something like that today? I don't know. I mean, they're still around, right? Yeah, you guys are just like really helpful with this pop culture stuff.
Tom Holland.
Who you got?
Tom Holland and Zendaya.
Yeah, I don't know who they are.
Spider-Man's they're getting married.
Oh, okay. How about Taylor Swift? Who's she hanging out with? Hey, Cash. You know who Austin Reeves is?
Yeah, AR-15.
Is that what they call him in LA? Played for the Shockers?
Yep.
Did you hear about Taylor Swift coming to see him in Arkansas? Because he's from Arkansas. He was at a bar, and Austin Reeves and Taylor Swift showed up together at this bar.
Is that confirmed?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is that confirmed?
But he's kind of popular in LA right now, right? And she's kind of popular everywhere, right? Up to my house, I can't name one Taylor Swift song, but anyhow. Okay, what am I talking about? So they have a baby, and somebody kidnaps their baby from the second story window of their home, and they leave a ransom note. So like this is front page news all over the world, okay? In the end, guys, they never got their baby back, which is kind of a sad story, okay? But very famous, okay? So today, who's the most famous person in the world? That if you're in Africa or India or China, you know who this is.
Michael Jordan.
That's a good one. Ronaldo. Who's the other one? Messi. LeBron. Well, Ali, that's kind of dated. Like Michael Jordan in the 90s or Michael Jackson in the 80s. How about Donald Trump? Okay, besides Jesus and Muhammad. Okay, maybe some athletes and a politician. Okay. All right, so guys, golf is a huge sport in the early 1900s. A couple movies, Greatest Game Ever Played. Seen that? And the Legend of Bagger Vance is a pretty good movie too if you're into golf. Okay. The boxing was huge. Obviously, baseball. Everybody was having a good time. People had money, and they had free time, and they wanted to be entertained. And so 20s is a lot of fun. And you can get in your car and drive to where you want to go. Okay? All right, so moving to the next slide. Who's that? Henry Ford, okay? Standing in front of a Model T, okay? So guys, we talked about this a little bit already. Interchangeable parts along with the assembly line. We are going to produce and produce and produce, okay? Millions and millions, radios, refrigerators, planes, automobiles, toasters, vacuum cleaners, washing machines, okay? Now, if you go into business for yourself, you want to be efficient. Every penny you save by becoming more efficient is a penny more you make. So the factory itself was a place of science and management. So this guy, Frederick W. Taylor, is the author of the Principles of Scientific Management, trying to figure out how to make the factory a more efficient, well-oiled machine. Okay? And so famously, they came up with better ways to shovel coal, more efficient ways to run the assembly line. So this is like the chassis here. Put the chassis on the assembly line, and then it moves along, and people add steering wheel, tires, rims, mirrors, windshield wipers, okay? All the things that go into the car. Okay, so in 1914, it took 14 hours to build a Model T or assemble a Model T. They got that down to 93 minutes. Now, can you build a car today in 93 minutes, even with robotics and all the things that we have to help build cars? No. We're driving around computers. You know what I mean? Like our cars have computers in them, all the electronic windows and all that stuff. Like I drive a 2021, guys. My windshield is smart. Like if it gets raindrops on my windshield, the windshield wipers come on. If it rains hard, my windshield wipers speed up. I don't even have to turn them on. Now, I got a big old crack in my windshield, and I've had for more than a year now. How much does it cost to replace that smart windshield? Like $900. Insurance, you got $500 deductible. So I got to come up with $500 to get a new windshield. It doesn't really bother me, so I'm driving around with a cracked windshield.
Is it still smart?
Still smart, still works.
Can it fix itself?
That would be nice. Now, if you can invent that,
I could do that.
you're going to put, what's that, whatever that company is out of business. Starlight, Windows, windshields, put them out of business. So, guys, by 1925, one car is rolling off the assembly line every 10 seconds. Now, in 1927, Henry Ford is going to take a gamble. Now, he's not the only auto manufacturer. He's the biggest. He's going to shut down Ford Motor Company for 6 months, retool his whole factory in Detroit, and start building the Model A. And it pays off big dividends for him. Okay? He's going to sell millions Model A's. Okay? So, Henry Ford, leaves a great legacy. He had a son son was named Edsel. You ever heard of the Edsel? It's an automobile. Yeah, they made some Edsels. That was the name of the car. Didn't work out too well. But if you own one of those today, it's worth a lot of money because not many were made. Okay. All right. You guys have watched any American Pickers? Me too. Antiques Roadshow?
My dad was watching that last night.
So good. Love that. And, you know, Pawn Stars is pretty good too. I like that show. I like Pickers a little bit better.
Storage Wars.
Huh?
Storage Wars.
It's, you know, if they would speed it up, like they go to commercial like every 5 minutes and then Storage Wars is great, but wish they could speed it up. It's just too much. I don't really need to know the personalities of these people. Just give me the stuff, you know? I want to see what's in.
You can start your own and make it slow.
We could.
Or speed it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
as a class.
Yeah.
On this, John, you're making this new video.
There you can go.
Okay,
You can
Well,
watch it on
we got
Fridays.
2 inventions you got. Do one of those shows and the windshield thing.
There you go.
Okay, now we're making all these products. Now we got to sell them. So the industry known as advertising is going to blow up from $1 billion industry to a $3 billion industry. So it's going to, you know, triple in size. Now, of course, prior to the 20s, you had newspapers, magazines, billboards, direct mail. So now we have radio advertising, okay, which would be fun. Nice little jingles that people play. You guys listen to the radio in your cars?
I just the other day.
Or do you just stream music or
I listen.
you listen to the radio? Listen to AM ever? Yeah, that's what smart people listen to. Yeah, that's right. I'm calling you out. Hey, listen, what can you learn on AM? A lot of stuff. Yeah, there's Christian music, there's Christian stations, Catholic stations. I like to listen. I have XM, so I listen to like business news and stuff like that. But anyhow, guys, advertising, if you ever go into it, you're going to want to create advertising that sells something beyond the product itself. So take Mercedes-Benz. Okay? Anybody in here drive Mercedes? What year? You must be rich. It's a status symbol. Now, what automobile retains its value more than any automobile? Most. Mercedes. They retain their value. They don't depreciate as much. Now, what kind of Mercedes is it? Is it C-Class? Okay. Which is kind of their lowest model.
Yeah.
Just a Mercedes.
She's got it. Status symbol. Okay. It's beautiful. Mercedes are generally beautiful. Okay. Comfortable. So you're trying to sell these other things with the advertising. Does that make sense? Now, one thing I don't have up here is sex. Like sex sells as well. So you guys seen those commercials where like you have these beautiful people and you don't even know what the ad's about until the end. Then they show you a bottle of perfume. You're like, oh, if I wear this, then these beautiful people are going to want me. Right. Okay. And then, guys, we get really good at advertising today. So you guys know with the internet, right? So if you Google search something, you know, I'm looking for a green belt. Next thing you know, I open YouTube and I got advertisements on the side for green belts. Yes? So they target you. Any of you guys shop at Dillon's? course you do. So, are you a member? Like, you've got a number. So you put you in your code, you get some fuel points off, right? Well, Dillon's takes that information of your buying habits and they sell that to other people. So other advertisers can target you. Follow me? Did you know they do that? Yeah, they do that. They sell your information. No, it's not. Read the fine print when you sign up for the Dillon's Plus card. Or whatever, there's all these other stores have the same thing. Like, are you a member or you sign up for our loyalty program so we can sell your information to other people?
They still call me.
Who?
Genesis. I didn't even get a membership.
But you inquired? You asked about it, or why do they keep calling you?
Probably got your day pass.
So, hey, Mike, what your family's the Spangle side stuff? What's your family, the Stephen part?
It's like,
What are you guys into?
how do I answer that?
There's a lot of different things.
My
Genesis,
Bengals. Genesis.
not the car dealership. Are you in the car dealership too?
Yeah, that's mine.
Okay, but that's your nephew. That's not you. That's like your mom. Is Renee?
Yes.
Your mom is Renee that does the commercials?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys are Spangles.
Yes.
Yes. And some other stuff. But just like your mom and your dad.
That brings.
Hold on, what?
Why is it so hard to you?
You mean just his like?
Like,
Immediate family. Your immediate family. She owns Spangles. Who owns Spangles?
brothers.
Her brothers?
Yeah.
Okay. Which are your uncles? What are you gonna do?
D.
NBA?
Yep.
While we're throwing out acronyms? WNBA?
Possibly.
My transition?
I might have better chance, but-
Probably.
I mean, the MLB is still an option.
Yeah.
I might come out this year, actually.
Okay.
You got a spot for me?
Not a lot of spots are gonna be hard to come by.
What do you need? What do you need?
What if I prove myself?
Yeah, what do you need?
I need a third baseman and another middle infielder.
I got third.
I used to play third
I
base.
played
I
third
played a
base.
tall third baseman.
None of you can hit a curveball.
Yes, I can.
I can try.
I go yards.
I'm a tall baseman who can jump 40 inches in
Okay.
Oops.
Sorry.
You
All right.
can get off the list.
Oh, yeah.
Now this is what we get really good at. Buy now, pay later. Buying on credit. Okay? So, any of you guys have a car payment? Monthly car payment? Okay. You're good. You got your cars paid off? Good for you, guys. So, by 1928, Americans owed $1 billion on automobiles. Now, Henry Ford said this. He said, listen, if you work in my factory, I want you to be able to afford my car. The people that work for me should be able to afford my car. So cars were available to the middle class. Now, some people didn't pay cash. They borrowed on it. Okay, so put down payment, monthly payment, pay it off. Okay, you don't pay it off, Repo Man comes, right? You know the Repo Man? You ever watch that show? All right. Now, this is important for the test. Thus far, I've given you two causes of the Great Depression. One, tariffs. Two, war debts. Three, right here. Over a decade, wages rose 26%. Is that good? Full. I just said over a decade, wages went up 26%. Is that good? Would you like it if your wages went up 26%? Would you like it if your wages went up 26%?
Ziggy's. I can answer the question.
Yes.
Sammy,
It's Tammy.
Tammy.
Tammy, remember?
Tammy, would you like it if your wages went up 26%? Smarsh. No, I want my wages to go down 26%.
You want it to go up.
Remind me to hire you people. So I can just cut your wages and you're like,
No.
Listen, if my wages went up 26%, would be ecstatic. We're in trouble on the first test, aren't we?
Just a little bit.
No, Berto, we're in trouble. Productivity went up 40%. So here's the thing. You can buy more with your money, okay, with 26% wage increase. Right now, our wage, 2023, our wages keeping pace with inflation? No, which means I am poorer today than I was 2 years ago. Even though I got a pay raise, I'm poorer than I was 2 years ago. Because of inflation, prices going up. Now here, guys, these people that were making all the goods were making more money, but they were producing 40% more goods than previously, which means they were producing more goods than they could afford to buy. So at the Ford dealership, they're not selling as many cars. So because people don't have enough money to pay for all those cars on the lot. So the dealership calls Henry Ford and says, Henry, we don't need as many cars this month. Don't send us that many because we still have a lot on the lot. So what happens back at Ford Motor Company? Layoffs, slowdown, which means there's more people that don't have money to buy the goods that have been produced. And it spirals downward. Just follow that. Okay, so this is a big cause of the depression. This is good. This is really good. This is great. But this needs to match that in order for the economy to continue to grow. Okay. That's my first car. 1977 Lincoln Continental. Talk about status symbol right there. Now I owned it in 1985.
Is this like the actual picture or just like the same?
It's the exact same model. Yeah. So these headlights, turn them on, they pop up. This little thing comes up. It's pretty sweet. It's got the wheel covers over here. Okay. It's 2-door, yellow with the white top. We call it the yellow submarine. Okay. I got 13 people in that.
You fit 13 in there?
Yeah.
And it's
Now, the girl I was dating when I drove this was Maureen. Maureen's a little thing, little blonde. So, like, the front seat is like a bench seat. So if she was, like, over there against the door, it's like, how you doing over there? This thing is huge. You could sleep in the trunk. I mean, it's massive. Okay? It's got the 460 in it. 460 cubic inches of power. 460. All right. Next slide show. We're moving on. Guys, we're gonna have a test next week when we finish these slides. Okay? Now, today, you ready for some economics? Frickin' mouse. Okay. Okay, this is acting slow. You guys know what those are? What do the numbers mean? Stock quotes. Why won't this go to the next frickin' thing? Oh, there it goes. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about stock market. Anybody in here own stock? Okay. What do you own, Abram?
Tesla.
Really? Okay. How many shares of Tesla do you own? Okay. Seeger, or not Seeger, Shane Holman. 2.5 shares of Tesla. It's trading for $270 a share.
I bought it before this.
Okay, nice. So you doubled your share. Nice. So you make money. Okay, I can tell you what Abram has. Abram has all of his eggs in one basket. So if Tesla produces its new model, comes out this year, and like 30 of them, the car batteries blow up and the people that are driving these Teslas die, there's going to be a major lawsuit, and your stock's going to tumble, and all your eggs in one basket are going to drop. Okay? So, listen, some of your families invest in the stock market. Some of your families don't. My mom and dad never invested in the stock market. Okay, so I didn't know anything about this until I met my wife. I also went to business. But I met my wife, and her family invested in the stock market. And so did my wife. And so I'm like, I need to do that. So I started investing in this. Okay? And so I'm trying to prepare for retirement so that I can live comfortably when I retire. So you guys have all heard of Social Security, right? The average payout per month for the average American for Social Security is $1,400 a month. Now you multiply that times 12, you get $16,000 plus a year. Now, when you're 65, Elizabeth, do you want to live on $16,000 a year? You think it's easy to live on $16,000 a year? No, it's not. So, you need to prepare. But what I will tell you guys is roughly 1/2 of all Americans have zero saved for retirement. Nearly half of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And if they lose that paycheck, guess what? The repo man comes. The bank forecloses on your house. And you lose all that money that you put into it. So what do? First thing you do is you build up an emergency fund. Now, I know you guys are poor. Some of you don't work. I get that. Okay? I get that. But you don't have to be poor. Do you understand me? In this country, you do not have to be poor. It's all within your power. Okay? Are you going to college? No? What are you going to do? You got a job? You're going to starve to death.
I am.
You're good. Now, why don't you go Learn how to do graphic arts. And turn that into animation. Or, you know what else you could do? You already do that? So you could turn this into like, game, the video games, right? Like you could design the artwork for the covers, right? We actually know somebody that does that in California.
My brother is a graphic design artist.
Yeah.
And he went to Fort Hayes for it.
Uh-huh.
But I just never wanted to because art school would like burn me out and it's way too much money.
Okay.
So I've thought about it for a while.
Okay. Well, get yourself out there. Get your art out there, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
The internet's great for that. Yep. Okay, good. Yeah. I wish you the best. Yeah. Going to college? What are you going to study? You thought about nursing? You know, you can make a really good living nursing. Going to college? You know what you want to study?
Art.
Okay. What are you going to do with that? Teach?
It's my goal. I'm gonna try and get some connections in the industry.
Going to college? You know what you want to study? Going to college? Business? Here you go. What's that?
Criminal justice.
Cool. Need cops? FBI?
I do electrical work.
Okay. So go to trade school? Make a good living? No idea? Okay. All right. Go to college? Okay. What do you want to do? Okay. College? What do you want to study? All right. Tammy? You don't know what you want to study yet? Cosmetology, what? Probably. Marsh? Really?
Yeah.
Awesome. College? Management? Business man? Wildlife man. Okay. That's a competitive industry. You know some people? Get to know people. You got a network. You know what I mean? You got a network. Know people in the industry. Connections. Okay? It's very competitive. Because a lot of people study that, but it's a limited number of positions. Does that make sense? Trade? Okay. All right, Roberta. I like aim high, baby. Okay. Teaching, what age group? Elementary ed. Okay. And you know, if you work in the diocese, the pay is awful, especially for elementary ed. You need a sugar daddy. Okay. All right. Now, if you work in the public schools, you'll make decent money and have good benefits. Okay. Okay. So, listen. You get that first job, especially you guys that start with the electrical trades and stuff like that. Okay, you're going to be able to start earlier than the ones that are going to college. Okay, because usually people that are in college are poor, and so they have a hard time investing money. Okay, I'm going to pass this around. The surprising saga of two 19-year-olds. The first 19-year-old invests $2,000 a year for 8 years. Each year, 19, 20, all the way to 26. $2,000 a year, total of $16,000. And then they don't put another penny in the stock market. When they turn 65, with accrued interest over time, over 40 years, you'll have at 6% growth, $1 million, $1,035,000. Okay? The other 19-year-old doesn't invest anything until they turn 26. When they're 26, all the way up to the age of 65, they put $2,000 in a year. One that doesn't start till they're 26 has $883,000. Okay, compound interest over 45 years. Okay, so I just want to speak to that a little bit. Okay, so I mentioned when we were talking about Tesla, let's talk about Boeing. Okay, now when you buy stock, you're buying a share of a large corporation. Tesla has millions of shares. Okay, and you own how many? What's it? Like 6 shares out of millions. Okay. Now let's say Boeing is trading for $50 a share, and I have $2,000 that I want to invest. I've saved $2,000. I want to invest it for retirement. Okay. How many shares can I buy of Boeing stock at $50 a share? 40. Okay. So I own 40 shares of Boeing stock. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware of what happened with the 737 MAX. It's a Boeing aircraft. It was a brand new one. It's supposed to, they were going to make thousands of them. Big 737s. There was a problem with the software, the engineering software of the plane, and some of them started to crash. They had close calls. The FAA grounded all 737 MAXs in the country. They were not allowed to fly until they fixed this. This is really bad news for Boeing because they make the 737 MAX. So the shares of those stocks started going down. Why did they go down? Because I heard about the 737 MAX and I called my broker and I said, I want to sell my Boeing stock. Okay, and he says, well, how much you want to sell it for? I want to sell it for $50. Well, he calls me back and says, listen, nobody's buying it at 50. Will you sell it at 48? I said, yeah, 48. Nobody's buying it at 48. Nobody's buying it at 45. Nobody's buying it at 43. They're buying it at 40. So I had 40 shares that I lost $10 each on. I just lost $400. That's having all your eggs in one basket. Okay? So what you want to do when you invest is diversify. You want a diverse portfolio. Okay? Now, well, let's say Boeing went up. Okay? Say China Air buys 100 737 MAX. Well, it's going to take like a decade to make that many. It's going to keep Boeing busy for 10 years. Okay? And the stock goes up $10 to $60 a share. I own 40 shares. How much money did I just make? I just made $400. Now, did I have to get out of bed this morning to make that $400? No, I didn't have to get out of bed. I'm putting my money to work for me. Okay? But this is scary. Putting all your eggs in one basket. Now, you've got, if you got 6 shares of Tesla, you got about $1,400 tied up in that stock. Okay? Now, what you want to invest in are called mutual funds or index funds. Okay, so let me show you what that looks like. So you have $2,000. Go to Edward Jones. There's one on every street corner. Edward Jones. Okay, 6% of your stock will be in Walmart. 6% will be in IBM. 6% in Amazon. 6% in McDonald's. 5% in Pfizer. 5% in Microsoft. 5% in Coca-Cola, and so on, till you get to 100%. So you're in a bunch of different businesses with one fund. So if COVID gets real bad again and the government says everybody has to take Pfizer, that's a pretty good business model. You make a vaccine, the government mandates that you buy their vaccine, or better yet, the government just buys millions of doses from you. That's a pretty good business model for Pfizer. They made hundreds of billions of dollars off the vaccine. Okay, so Pfizer goes up, but McDonald's goes down. People trying to eat healthier. They balance out. Does that make sense? In one fund, your $2,000 should, with an index fund or a mutual fund, this is the stock market from 1934 to 2015. This is going to grow at 6 to 12% over time. How much are you getting in your savings account? 1 to 2% right now. Interest rates are up, so you're making more than you were 2 years ago. Okay, but 2% versus 10%. Now let me show you. The number one what the hell is this?
Okay, Max is crazy.
Okay. Why is this so big? Fuck, guys.
It's a Walmart does that for you. So you just give them $5 worth of that and they'll do all that for you. So they take like 0.04%. Not so shady. You buy it. It's not. Slink. I do the S&P 500 and I do the
All right, guys. I'm having a little bit of difficulty with this freaking thing. Vanguard has a total mutual fund, like a total. It's big like this. It's got a bunch of stuff in it. Costs you about $2,000 to get in. It's made 17% this year. It's the number one fund in America. 17% this year. Over the last 5 years, 63% return on your money with minimal risk. Now, people manage these mutual funds. Like they have people like, okay, this part of the economy is going down. Okay, if we have an economic slowdown, buy Walmart. Because people will go to Walmart and buy clothes instead of Dillard's. When times get tough, you buy Walmart. When things get good, not as many people shop at Walmart. You follow me? So you have managers that manage these funds for you. You don't have to pay attention. Okay? Now, what you want to get into with these mutual funds is what's called a Roth IRA. How many of you guys have heard of the Roth? Okay, listen to me, please. Please listen to me. About 30 years ago, there was a senator named Roth, and he wanted to encourage the American people to save money for retirement, just so they wouldn't be dependent on the government, and just have, Social Security. So the Roth IRA, which is an individual retirement account, you can put in up to like $5,000 a year. Okay. Now I told you what you could do with just $2,000, but if you could put $5,000 in a year, you can't touch this money until you're 62. This is for long term. But when you get this money out, zero capital gains taxes. Listen, no taxes on your gains. So the first time you ever go to invest money for your retirement, this is what you buy. Now, Edward Jones will tell you that, okay? I'm just trying to like clue you into this, okay? Now, I have a Roth IRA that I've been funding. Now, I didn't start teaching until I was 29, so I didn't start investing until I was 29, so I'm behind the 26-year-old on that piece of paper, okay? But after 25 years of funding my IRA, my Roth, I have $175,000, okay? Now, I can't retire on that. So what my wife and I also do is we have a traditional IRA. Now, what you do, guys, once you start making money, like your first full-time job, all I'm doing is working. You've got to take some of that and put it over here. You can't just go spend it. You got to put it to the side. First, the rainy day emergency fund. Something happens, you have some money. Then, once you fill up that fund, say $6,000, something like that, like it's a just in case things go bad, I've got $6,000. Okay, it's my emergency. Then you start putting some away. Take it to Edward Jones or Charles Schwab or wherever. Get your Roth. Okay, fully fund that if you can. Okay, because it's tax free. Let me give you an example of how you're avoiding taxes here. You guys know what flipping houses is, right? So you buy a house worth $75,000, you invest $25,000 in to fix it up, and you sell it for $150,000. What's your profit? You invested $100,000, $50,000, guys. 27% tax on that $50,000. So the Roth allows you to avoid that. Okay. Now, with the traditional IRA, you're going to pay taxes. Okay? So my wife and I have both, traditional and Roth. Okay? Now, my wife makes too much money because the government says, well, if you make too much money, you can't buy a Roth. My wife's hit that. So we do the traditional, okay, with her. I have the Roth, okay? The other thing is, okay, you guys that are going into trades, okay, what you're looking for when you get that first job, and my son just got one, he's 23, okay, he did 3 years of college, now he's working full time, okay, is this 401k, okay? This is what they give the teachers here, okay? We don't have a pension. Now, if you work for the government, you can get a pension, which means when you retire, they continue to pay you until you die. That's a pretty nice deal. Most companies you work for don't have pensions anymore. They have these, okay? So every pay period, guys, 5% of my check goes to my 401k, which is invested in mutual funds. Bishop Carroll, or the diocese, matches that. This is free money. In addition to my pay, I get this. This also goes into a mutual fund. So just give you an idea, after 25 years of me teaching here, and I'm average, like I make about the average of what the average American makes, maybe a little less, but average. My 401k is about $175,000. So between my Roth and my 401k, Mr. Ebright has about $350,000 for retirement. Can I retire on that? No. Probably gonna need about $2 million to retire comfortably. That means I can travel, so forth. Good thing, my house is paid off. I got property taxes, truck's paid off. Okay, so I don't have to live real expensive. I do like to travel though. Okay, gas prices are high, airline tickets are high, hotels are high. You know what I mean? So guys, I started at 29. If you can start when you're 22, 23, you're going to set yourself up well. Okay? Because my 401k, if I would have started teaching here when I was 23, would be probably over 250,000. And by the time I leave, it might be closer to 350,000. Throw that in with my Roth, I would have started earlier. You know, I'm getting inching up towards 1 million. But I got a sugar mom. So she been put her 401k, her 5% that she makes for her 401k at Coke Industries, her 5% is a lot more than my 5%. But like her 401k is creeping up there already. Like, and she has a pension. And, okay, sugar mom. She can retire whenever she wants. She can. I told her, I'll keep working. I'll get the health insurance. That's the big thing. Like you retire early, you got to come up with money for health insurance. Okay. So listen, I'm just trying to like share with you guys. Like this is doable. You can become a millionaire if you're disciplined. I get the money taken out of my check. I don't even write the check. I'm like, all right, you're taking out 120 out of every paycheck, and that's going to my Roth IRA. 120 every month. It's gone. I don't even see it. Okay, and I'll thank myself later. Okay. So tomorrow we'll get into why the stock market in 1929 did this. Okay. And hopefully you'll learn something today that'll benefit you down the road. Not just history, but practically. Yeah.
Have you invested in crypto?
No, I have not. I don't even understand crypto, so I'm staying away from it. Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. The government could kibosh everything you have invested in that in one day. If the government says this crypto stuff is illegal, say bye-bye. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. Have you ever bought anything with crypto?
I haven't. I bought it like 3 years